Greetings all, and welcome to Theater Workshop of Owensboro's Trinity Radio Players production of Footsteps. Inspired by M.R. James' Count Magnus, originally adapted for audio by Richard Thorne for the Hall of Fantasy, edited and updated by Richard Fish and Scott Hickey, and produced by Tinkertone Studios, engineered and edited by Shane Devon. The Trinity Radio Players are sponsored by Limestone Bank, a firm financial future starts here, and by Greenwell Chisholm. See Greenwell Chisholm for all your printing and promotional needs. And now, Footsteps. I have before me the diary of a dead man. He and his wife were my best friends. I know that Bill and Helen Mason lived the last few months in dread fear, and now they're both dead. I have come to their house, it's empty now, and found the diary sitting on Bill's desk. I sit here in the large, overstuffed leather chair in the library. Outside, the rain pummels against the side of the house. The wind whips the last leaves from the trees, and the thunder gives vent to the anger of the storm. It's late evening as I open the diary. Now I know the house is empty. I looked in every room, every closet, but I cannot help feeling like there's something in the house. A tension, a fear, perhaps. Almost as if unseen eyes were watching me. As if someone was here with me. Here in this room. And so I start to read Bill's diary. The still living words from the pen of a man who is no longer living. March 3rd. Helen and I came across one of those delightful old Southern-style mansions, and we decided to take a look at the place.
And Helen was especially interested in taking some pictures to illustrate our lecture series in the fall.
Oh, Bill, look! It's deserted. There isn't anybody living here.
Not unless it was Betty Davis and Joan Crawford. What a mess.
You and your old movies. The house looks so pretty from the road, but it's obviously been abandoned.
Yeah. For a long time, too. I've seen possums on the interstate that were less run down. Well, I guess nobody will mind if we take a look around.
How could they? There's nobody here. Whoever owns the place hasn't even put up a sign.
It's a shame that they let it get into such bad shape.
Yeah. Do you think it could be saved? Renovated?
I think that would have to be resurrected. Probably cost a fortune. But it sure would be beautiful.
Wait a minute. Let me get my phone. I want to get a picture from here.
I wish we had a candy bar to put on the porch. We could call it Whatever Happened to Baby Ruth.
No, I couldn't.
Here, use my phone.
No, thank you. Mine has 8 megapixels. There. Yours only has a couple more. 3.
Fair enough. Let's see what you got. Oh, it looks good. That one's nice, too.
I'll have to Photoshop it. The carving on the pillars is in the shadow.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of oak?
You're hopeless. I ought to get some shots of the back, I think.
Helen?
Yes?
I wonder what that building is over there.
Where?
Come this way. See? It's just in the back of the house.
Oh, yes. Let's go around that side and take a look at that first.
Okay. If they had a flock of geese, I'd say, let's take a gander. Look, those third-floor windows look like the 10 Commandments, all broken. I can't understand why someone could let the house and grounds deteriorate so.
It must have cost a lot of money to run a place as large as this, darling. Maybe the owner couldn't afford to keep it up and couldn't find a buyer.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first time that's happened, I suppose.
But It's funny. That other building doesn't seem to be so run down.
That is odd, isn't it? It looks solid. I'd guess it was built later than the house. Maybe a lot later. Looks like stone. Limestone, I think.
I wonder what it was used for.
Don't know. And I can't figure out why someone would spend the money and effort to build this instead of putting it into keeping up that beautiful house.
I know. It's just a crime to let a house like that get in such a state.
Well, look at that. I thought maybe we could peek in a window, but
It doesn't have any windows.
no. Just that door. And it's solid. That is kind of strange. Maybe it was used as a storehouse.
Bill, look at the door.
It's solid oak. And the latch is chained.
Look at the padlock. I think it's broken.
Hey, you're right. It's all rusted through.
Do you think we could get in?
And see the rust of the place? Maybe. This thing looks like it's just about to... Well, there. It just fell apart. Ladies first?
After you.
Huh. There might not be any windows, but there's a skylight.
A sort of hopper? Where they dumped in the wheat? But no, it's framed and glassed in. That's odd, too. But at least we can see. Oh, it's so cold in here.
Yes, that shaft of sunlight doesn't bring in much heat. Helen, I think that's...
What's that in the center of the floor?
That's just what I was going to say. This isn't a storehouse. It's a mausoleum. That thing in the center of the floor is a sarcophagus. A stone coffin.
A mausoleum? With a skylight? Now that is really odd. Bill, there's nothing else in here. Just that thing in the center, but... I don't know. Somehow I feel as if it's... well, crowded. As if there's things here that we can't see.
That's nonsense, darling. Nobody here but us chickens. And that gander we're taking. Say, notice how the sun falls across the head of that sarcophagus?
Yes. Well, that'd make a good picture. There. And another? It's pretty dark in here. Let me get a close-up.
Here now. What are you two doing in here?
We noticed the lock was broken, so we came in.
You shouldn't have done that.
Why? We didn't do any harm.
I'm sure of that. But he won't like it.
Who won't like it?
The thing that sleeps here,
Sleeps here?
in that stone coffin.
What are you talking about?
You didn't notice the writing over the door, did you?
What writing?
Ah, you didn't see it then. That's a shame. 'Cause I weren't here and you just didn't know what you were getting into.
Getting into? Look, I'm sorry, but I just don't understand. We didn't hurt anything. We didn't steal anything.
That don't make no difference to him.
Who are you talking about?
People around here, they call him Mr. Tanis when he was alive. Now that he's dead, they call him the Death That Walks.
The death that walks. People think he gets up and strolls around.
People around here have seen him at night.
But he's dead.
That's right. He's dead. And they've seen him walking at night.
Well, some people let their imaginations run away
It
with.
ain't imagination. I've seen him myself.
Look, we didn't mean any harm. We'll go. You don't have to frighten us off.
I ain't trying to frighten you none. I don't have to. He'll frighten you. Oh, Mr. Tanis, the Death That Walks.
I think we better go, Bill.
Huh, you don't believe what I'm telling you. That's all right with me. I don't care what you believe, but you'd better listen to what I'm saying now. If I was you, I'd get away from here as fast as I could. Not just this place, but from this town and this part of the country.
Why? Do you know something's going to happen?
I know what I know. You want me to tell you what I know?
Well, Yes, but will it take long?
Not long enough. All right. Maybe you'll believe me then. Old Tanis came here from someplace in Europe. I say old, but he really wasn't old when he got here. He just seemed that way. I was the caretaker then, just like I am now. He bought the house and grounds here and had them clean it up till the place looked like it was brand new. Then he started building this here building. Now, you've got to understand, there was something funny about Tanis, something in his eyes that made you frightened of him. His eyes looked like the eyes of a dead man. He didn't act like anyone I ever knew. He talked a lot about death, and he used to promise me he'd always be here. After this building was completed, I used to watch him at night. He'd come out here and stand in front of this building, and it seemed like he was in some kind of trance. He'd stay out here for hours, and when he came back, his eyes, they would glisten and shine, so you couldn't hardly look at him. 10 years passed now. He told me that as long as I lived, I was to take care of this place because if I didn't, he'd come back and kill me. And then he died. Just like that. He was put in here, in this coffin, according to his will, and I get a paycheck from his lawyer. Late one night, about 2 months later, it was a full moon, I remember that, I heard a noise. When I come out to look, I saw the door of this place was open. I heard footsteps. They sounded weird, hollow-like. And here he came, walking out in the moonlight. He turned around and I could see his face. It was pale, pasty, sick-looking. And those eyes of his glowed. Or maybe reflected the moon, I don't know. But they were like two burning coals of fire. He seemed to be looking at me, and I heard him say, "They have disturbed me, and the moon has awakened me. I shall follow them." That's what he said. And I heard him just as plain as you're hearing me. And then he vanished in the night. Towards morning, I heard his footsteps again. I heard that big door close, and I knew he was back. The next day in town, I heard that Arch Oboler had died the night before. Somebody noticed his lights were out and found him electrocuted by his radio set. Accident, they said. But I knew better.
And that was 10 years ago? That's all there is to the story?
No. Oh, no. There's been others. You see, a lock on this door don't last. They just rust away faster than anything I've ever seen. Don't know why. The chain lasts a couple of years, but any lock could be rusted to nothing in a month or two. So over the last 10 years, there's been 5. That kid had his girlfriend with him. 5 local folks who've gotten in there when the lock's no good and I haven't replaced it yet. Every one of them dead. Accident. Suicide. Heart attack. That's what they said, officially. Folks around here know better, and they stay away now. Been 5 years or more since the last one. They all say he'll follow you wherever you go if you come inside here.
How come you're still alive?
Well, he ain't gonna kill me, long as I stay here. That's what he said. I wish I'd been here when you come. I was to the store in town. You being from out of town, you wouldn't have heard about this place. But you didn't see the writing, and now Look here. If I was you, I'd get out of this part of the country as soon as I could.
Let's go back to the hotel, Bill.
Yes, all right, dear.
So you're going to get away from here?
Yes, we'd better be going.
You're the first ones in 5 years. I guess I've not been keeping this lock replaced lately, but I always keep a new one ready, and I got it here. You can't go around leaving this door unlocked. There. That ought to satisfy him.
There's the inscription, Bill. Up there.
Yeah. That's the writing, I mean. Just like old Tanis, he could never say something plain and simple like, keep out.
If you enter here into the realm of death, I shall follow you.
Follow you? That's a strange way to warn people.
You should have started it with, to whom it may concern.
Oh, Bill.
Now you've sealed your fate.
It's quite late as I sit in our hotel room and write this. Seen on the page in black and white, the caretaker's story seems like an old horror movie or one of those old radio plays, and I realize how absurd it really is. But it's upset Helen. She couldn't relax or sit down for long. Now she's standing across the room, looking out the window at the street, which is brightly lit by the full moon. I have to say I'm feeling quite uneasy myself. Oh well, this is my diary. I can be honest. I guess I'm actually kind of frightened. I know we'll look back at this later and laugh, but right now, we'd better try and get some sleep.
All through writing?
Yes. I wanted to set down that caretaker's story before I forgot what he said.
I don't think I'll forget it.
Oh, we will eventually. You wait and see. But just the same, I think we should leave tomorrow morning.
Do you think there might actually be something to it? That story about old Tanis and his mausoleum?
Oh, no. Of course not. Just a local ghost story. No, certainly not. I just think it's time we were on our way, that's all.
Well, that's all right with me. It's a pretty town, though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's lovely in the moonlight. It's like a postcard. There's no traffic. This time of night, there's nobody.
Bill!
What?
Look! Down to the left. On the corner. There's a man down there.
Where? Oh, I see him. He's looking up at us.
Bill, look at his eyes.
Whoa. They're like glowing. It must be a reflection of the moon.
As I read these pages, the words stare up at me, and their pattern seems to change, to move, to suggest some creeping, nameless terror. Outside, the storm still rages. It's getting very late, but I can't stop reading. And Bill apparently couldn't stop writing that night. March 3rd. Still later. We turned out the light
and watched from the shadows. The man down in the street, whoever he was, left after about 10 minutes. If I had any doubts about leaving this place, they've all been dispelled by now. Helen is just going to bed, and I think I shall do the same.
Let's get an early start tomorrow.
Yes, we can get breakfast on the road.
That man,
Yes,
his face seemed to be awfully white.
I know. But this isn't exactly a tropical island where everybody's got a tan.
That's true. I suppose it's just a coincidence?
Who are you trying to convince, me or yourself?
I guess I'm trying to rationalize it. I'm not doing a very good job.
Things will look very different in the morning. By tomorrow, we'll be several hundred miles from here. Good night, dear.
Good night, sweetheart. Bill!
That's just somebody upstairs.
They sound odd. Like the footsteps the caretaker described to us.
It's probably just another guest who can't sleep.
But it's not. I know it's not.
All right. I'll call the front desk. This is William Mason in 316. Can you tell me who has the room directly above us? The clerk's going to check. Yes? I see.
What did he say?
The room above us is unoccupied. March 4th. We left the hotel that night. After hearing the steps, we packed, checked out, went immediately to our car, and drove all night and all day today. Tonight we've got a motel room almost 1,000 miles away in a town we've never been to and hadn't planned to visit. At least now we can feel safe. Nobody could possibly have followed us. I'm very tired. Helen's already in bed. Helen, are you asleep?
No.
What are you thinking about?
Those words. The ones that were written above the mausoleum door. If you enter here, into the realm of death, I shall follow you.
Helen, you've got to turn your mind to something else. We've gotten away now. We're safe. We can't be always thinking.
Bill?
Yes, I hear them too.
He couldn't possibly come this far, could he?
I don't see how. Maybe it isn't him. I don't know. But babe, we can't go any further tonight.
I know. It wouldn't be safe for either of us to drive. Honey, I'm just dead.
Helen, don't.
I mean, I'm exhausted. And so are you.
Yeah. But I just got a little shot of adrenaline. Listen, could you get some sleep if I stay awake?
I can try. But you need sleep too. You wake me up in a couple of hours, okay?
Okay. March 5th. When I went to pay the bill, the man who owns the hotel said a strange, pale man had been outside earlier. And when he asked if the man wanted a room, he said no. He was just passing through, following us. March 11th. It's impossible to get any work done. We've been traveling at random, picking a motel at random each night. But everywhere we go, he's there also. We've seen him twice, but we always hear his footsteps. March 16th.
Yeah, Mr. Mason, the guy said you don't need to worry, though, because he's going to follow you.
March 22nd.
No, he didn't leave a name. He just said he'd be in touch with you.
March 27th.
Never saw a man who'd look like that before. Pale as a ghost. Is he a friend of yours, Mr. Mason?
April 18th.
He said he'd follow you.
April 29th.
He told me to say that he'd follow you.
May 15th.
Follow you.
Follow you.
Follow you. Follow you. Follow you.
Follow you.
I can't stand it!
Honey, please. I can't think of anything else we can do. We've done our best. We can't.
I want to go home, Bill.
We said we wouldn't until we knew he was gone. Remember? We don't want him to follow us there.
Well, maybe he won't. We've always been safe at home. I just can't stand this anymore.
All right. Home is the one place we haven't been. Let's try going there. June 23rd. We arrived home yesterday afternoon. I called my friend Gary as soon as I could. He came out and had dinner with us. We told him what happened. But of course, there wasn't anything he could do to help. He was concerned that we were so spooked, he called it. But I don't think he really believed our story. However, last night was the first night in months that we haven't heard any footsteps. We both slept like logs until almost noon. Maybe Helen was right. Perhaps he won't follow us here. July 3rd. The book is coming along well. Helen has done a beautiful job with those pictures, and best of all, we haven't seen or heard anything unusual since we came home. I feel as a man might feel who had been given a new lease on life. July 10th, still nothing. August 19th. For the last 2 months, a feeling of peace and tranquility have enveloped our lives and our house. At last, Helen and I could go around with no sense of danger or dread, and we actually began to forget about the footsteps. Last night, Gary had come out for dinner at almost 10 o'clock.
Oh, well, it's time for me to get going.
Surely you don't have to go so soon.
Oh, I am afraid that I must. Tomorrow's a working day for me.
Work. The curse of the drinking classes.
Seriously, I've got to get along.
As in, get along, little doggy. That's what they told the cowboy, so he bought a dachshund.
And that's another reason. Ugh. That was a lovely dinner, and if I stay much longer, Bill's jokes might spoil my digestion.
At least he's joking again. He stopped, after that one the old caretaker didn't like.
Oh, what joke was that?
I said the inscription on that mausoleum should have started with, "To whom it may concern."
Oh, wow. That's a new low even for you, Bill. Well, good night. Next time I'll... What's that? Someone upstairs?
No.
Listen.
He's back.
Who's back?
The man we told you about. Those are his footsteps. I'd know them anywhere. Let's put an end to this. Will you come upstairs with me, Gary?
Of course.
You stay down here, Helen.
Don't go up there, Bill! Don't let him get you!
No, Helen. This time Gary's here. I'm going to meet him face to face.
Then I'm going with you.
No, you're not. You're going to stay right here. Ready, Gary?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go.
Be careful.
As careful as we can.
If he's up here, what are you going to do?
I don't know. We'll find that out when the time comes. Those steps came from the guest room.
I don't hear anything.
I'm going to open the door really fast. You take the left side of the room. I'll take the right side.
Gotcha.
There's nobody. There's no one in here.
Well, the drapes are closed, and the windows are shut tight. He didn't get out this way.
He was here. I can feel it when he's nearby. But now, he's gone. But he was here. He is here. Somewhere. I know that. Come on! Helen! Helen! Where are you?
Over there, on the floor, under the window.
Helen! Helen! What's the matter? Helen, answer me!
Oh, she can't, Bill. She's not breathing. She's dead.
August 23rd. We buried Helen today. As I sit here in the empty house, writing this, I know old Tanis will come for me too. I am writing this in hope that someone will find it, read it, and maybe understand my death. It's lonely here without Helen. And yet I suddenly feel as if I'm not alone. There's someone in the house. I know who it is. He is here, in this house, with me. He's coming down the stairs. I pray that someone reads this. Perhaps he will. He will.
I have read the manuscript in full. The August 23rd entry was the last he ever made. The feeling of creeping horror that runs through the pages has imparted itself to me, and I sense that someone else is here with me. Of course, I realize it's only my imagination, but I can't shake that feeling. There is someone here. Who are you? You've been listening to the Trinity Radio Players production of Footsteps, featuring the Radio 2 players, Todd Reynolds as Gary, Joseph Acquisto as Bill, Mercedes Varble as Helen, and Jim Payne as the caretaker. Brought to you by our sponsors, Greenwell Chisholm. See Greenwell Chisholm for all your printing and promotional needs, and by Limestone Bank, a firm financial future starts here. And the Kentucky Arts Council, the state arts agency providing American Rescue Plan funds to Theater Workshop of Owensboro, Inc., with federal funding from the National Endowment for the Arts. Goodbye until next time.